Hello, everybody, and welcome to the specialist episode of A Little Bit Unhinged as we've ever had. Star-studded, dare I say, because besides the wonderful host, Casey, that's here.
Hello.
And I'm here, which, you've heard from me already. We also have a special guest, Karen.
Hi.
Karen is here as well. Welcome to the...
And our mascot.
Oh, and the mascot is here. Hi, Artie. How you doing, buddy?
So everybody will hear him yet again.
Yeah, he'll be about. He'll get to enjoy. You'll get to enjoy Artie. This is the only podcast that is still enjoying looking at Easter-themed Hershey's Kisses as we speak. So we got that going for us. On today's episode, we're going to talk about music. We brought Karen here because she knows the most about music of anyone in the history of the universe.
Well, I don't know about that.
And so we're going to talk about some fun music things, but I want to start by going with our theme of going over 1998 things. I have this list and you guys don't, so I'm going to be introducing you to these things for the first time, which is very exciting. But first I want to go over the Grammy Awards for 1998, because it's interesting considering the albums that have, the things that have been happening this year, what this is, which I think you'll find some of these songs interesting. You'll probably know almost all of them. Maybe you won't know them all. I didn't know all of these things I'm about to say, but you'll know some of them. But first thing is I want to talk about the song, the one that won the Grammy for song and record, which I know there's some specific difference between the two, but I don't know what it is. I've looked it up 100 times. Do either of you guys know the difference between the song and the record?
So
I don't remember.
I might be wrong, but I think one of them is like more production, and one of them is the song itself. But I could be wrong on that.
I like it. Let's call it that. Anyway, the winner of that was My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
Nice.
That was a was that for a movie?
It was Titanic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Of course.
We just talked about Titanic a couple episodes ago.
Although I thought Titanic was 97, not 98, but I guess...
No,
So apparently it crossed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we discovered that because it was... I remember it coming out in 97, so it must have been later in the year because it still grossed a ton in 1998.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it was probably in theaters for like a year. I feel like it was there forever, so...
Sure.
And it won 1998's Best Picture.
Okay,
Because
and then
1999
98 Grammys.
was Shakespeare in Love, which is
Right.
what we talked about
nice,
in
okay.
a recent episode.
All right.
So there you go. Titanic, no surprise there. The album of the year was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Oh,
which is an
Okay.
all-time...
that is a good album.
It's like an all-time top 10 album as far as I'm concerned.
Yo.
She also won the New Artist Grammy. No real surprise there. Not that she was a new artist, but by herself she was a new
No,
artist.
but the New Artist Grammy is always kind of weird anyway.
So those are the notable Grammys. I did also pull up the Billboard year end, like ratings for sales. The top Billboard year end pop song and R&B song was "Too Close" by Next, which is a song about a man getting an erection while dancing close to a lady.
Do I know that song? I must know that song, but I don't.
Baby, when we're grinding, I feel so excited. Ooh, how I like it. Try, but I can't fight it. Yeah.
I do know that
I do know that
Yeah.
song. Yes.
Yep. Great. And that was right after I graduated from high school. So still juvenile enough that was fantastic.
Nice.
Now, both of you were baby children.
I was gonna say, I think I was
14.
14 in 1998.
I think I'm not born yet.
They're not born yet.
According to the
according to
tradition
show
of
lore.
the show.
Yeah, show lore, not born yet. The pop album was the Titanic
The soundtrack.
soundtrack. Yep. The top R&B album was Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The top country song was Just to See You Smile by Tim McGraw.
Can you hear him?
A little bit, yeah. It's all good. That's what he's here for. He's here to celebrate his mascotness on the show. Just chomping away.
Because I could take it away from him.
Nah, why? It's fine. Just to See You Smile by Tim McGraw, which I don't know.
I'm trying to think if I know that one. I mean, I'm sure I
You
do.
guys absolutely know that
No, I was
song.
going to say, I'm sure I know it if I heard it. I just off the top of my head. You going to sing it for us?
Well, I was about to, but all I know is just to see you smile, so it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
No. All right. Well,
I'm sure I know it, though.
I'd do anything, just to see you smile. I'd do anything.
Okay.
And
Maybe I hear it.
I'm
she brings a
positive
new
I
guy
know it.
around to meet him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll meet him just to see you smile. I'd do anything."
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
know that one.
All right. The country album of the year was Sevens by Garth Brooks.
All right.
Garth is in the middle of his power, or is that the end of his power?
Probably towards the end, I'd
Yeah.
say.
Towards the end of his
Like
power.
Chris Gaines
'Cause we're
came
in
out in
Chris
like
Gaines
99
era.
or 2000. Yeah.
Other notable songs on the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles of 1998. The Boy Is Mine, Brandy and Monica was number 2.
Nice.
You're Still the One, Shania Twain. 3.
I definitely know that one.
Truly, Madly, Deeply, Savage Garden.
Oh, my first CD I ever bought.
I was just going to say, like, that was one of the very first ones that I remember.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That was my very first CD.
How Do I Live by Leanne Rimes.
Good song, too.
Yeah. Did
Also
you have
done by Trisha Yearwood.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Janet had a song on here, Together Again.
Oh, I like that song. Yeah.
I think my favorite song of the list so far, All My Life by Casey and JoJo.
Oh, that's a good song,
Good
too.
song.
Good song.
Man, Casey and JoJo, what happened to them?
They got R&B'd out. The market changed.
They made money.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Went home.
Candle in the Wind in 97, Elton
Well,
John.
Princess Diana died, so that made sense.
Yeah.
Nice and Slow by Usher.
Good one.
Oh, here's one. There's a few of them that I want to note. I don't want to read all of them, but then the more I look through the list, the more I want to read. I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole. How's It Gonna Be by Third Eye Blind.
That's a great song.
No, No, No by Destiny's Child. Getting Jiggy With It, Will Smith.
Yeah.
And then more Usher. Usher was
I was like, he was really big right then, right?
You Make Me Want to End My Way. Those were right next to each other.
When he was still a teenager making those songs.
Yeah.
Well, he likes sex, I guess. P. Diddy and Notorious B.I.G. and Mace, Been Around the World. Oh, Crush by Jennifer Page, a very underrated song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Cher song on here.
Do you believe?
I was thinking that, but that feels like that should be later, but that would make sense.
Believe was not on the Billboard year-end Top 100, but it was one of the top best-selling songs of 1998.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I
Yeah.
think it was the best song. Yeah, it was the best-selling song, right above My Heart Will Go On.
Because that makes sense, because it was featured in Will and Grace a few years later, and it was already an old song when it was in that show.
Gotcha. Okay. It all kind of runs together, like the late 90s and the early 2000s for me.
It's all gets kind of blobby
Yeah.
because it's kind of a transition of music. 2 other songs that I want to note on this list. Number 7th best-selling single of 1998, Chocolate Salty Balls by Chef.
All right.
Nice.
And number 9, Ghetto Superstar, which again I think is maybe
That's a
little
great song
underrated.
also.
Yeah, great song. Also, Robbie Williams' Angels, which is my favorite karaoke song. Is on
I've
there.
heard you sing
So there
that
you go.
before.
There you go. So yeah, that's 1998 in music.
A lot of big songs.
A lot of big songs. Well, that's the thing I was thinking about as I looked through these, because like after we've done the movies and then later we'll do games. Is it lots of big songs because they're my formative song years, or are they lots of big songs because they're lots of big songs?
That's a good point.
I think it's kind of both, because back then we didn't have streaming. So
True.
now you can isolate your music tastes more so than you could back then.
Sure.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had some mixed tapes going. Well, by then I had some CDs. I had some nice burned CDs.
Oh, yeah.
97, 98.
We were getting into the height of like the Napster era.
Oh, yeah.
Like 99, kind of getting into that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was early. It came and went in college time. The Napster days. All right. So, the most important thing that we have you on here for, Karen, because you are, I think it's safe to say, the most prolific concert goer of the three of us.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I think that's safe to say. Would you agree, Casey?
No.
Okay, then you know what? I'm going to dial it back.
It's true. She goes to more concerts than anybody else.
I actually have my, I pulled up my list because I keep track of all my concerts. So this is not 100% accurate, but this is what I have loaded onto the site that I do this. So it says I've seen 530 performances during 152 concerts with 148 bands at 68 venues in 23 different locations.
That's amazing.
That's a lot.
I might have seen concerts in maybe 12 different venues. Maybe.
Yeah, 68 was a surprise for me that it was that many venues, but that's what the website says.
How many international ones have you seen? Concerts have you seen?
None, I don't
How many Tijuana concerts have you been to, Karen?
I mean, look, that's going to stay secret because I have a security clearance that I can't talk about.
I don't put that on the list. Not Tijuana. All right, so the first thing I want to ask you both is, what is your earliest concert memories? Maybe your first concert, if you can remember, or earliest ones. Whichever one of you wants to start, go ahead.
Well, my first was Alan Jackson and Dina Carter.
Good one. Oh, Dina Carter. Good stuff.
What was Alan Jackson's big thing at the time? What was he doing then?
Like what song?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I think it was Living on Love. It might have been Itty Bitty at that point.
So what year was that?
96?
Okay.
95? I don't know, because the second concert I went to was Hanson, and I'm pretty sure that was 97.
That's a very
So I think...
good
Sure.
second concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hanson was a lot of fun. They were good.
Where'd you see them? Did they come? They didn't come here, right?
No. Have we said where we are?
I don't
think
know.
the podcast knows where we are.
Here in the general sense. We know where we are.
I think the city a couple hours north of us.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think podcast lore has determined where we are yet. Just in the South, I think.
Okay,
so
I'll
far.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, because when we
talk
crossed
later.
states, we didn't even say what states we
We didn't
crossed.
say
Okay.
what states we crossed.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, up north.
Okay.
Karen?
Okay, so first concert experience, in 98 went to see specifically Sister Hazel was who I was trying to see, but it was at a festival that used to be pretty big where we all live in the mystery town that we're in. But it ended up being Kenny Wayne Shepherd was the first band I saw because they started playing before Sister Hazel, but I went for Sister Hazel.
I don't know if I know the first band on the first concert that I ever went to.
Yeah?
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. I only remember the headliner, but I don't think I remember anybody else that played there.
I mean, I only saw those two, so that's why I remember.
And this was at a festival?
It was a festival. I can't remember, but that year, as we were leaving, it was either the Dixie Chicks playing. I think it was them. Mm-hmm. And we could hear them in the distance. Or Taylor Swift, but I think that was Taylor. I think was a couple years later.
Yeah, that seems like
I think it was
been
Dixie
too early
Chicks
for her.
was the same year.
Were you allowed to be on drugs at that time? And then were you?
No comment.
Okay, noted. My first concert, my dad had to chauffeur me and my girlfriend at the time. This was probably 95, 96 to Boys to Men.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I bought a light up rose for the young lady.
Very nice. Suave.
I asked her if she still had it, and she told me she thought she might still have it. And that was very nice. She passed away about a year ago, but still a nice thought that she might still have it. That was great. My father fell asleep. We were at the end, so my father's hanging over the side, just snoring, while I'm trying to be like, Dad, be cool. Be cool, Dad, be cool. But I don't remember who else was in that show. I mean, honestly, the fact that I remember the show happened at all is probably pretty good, considering that was 100 years ago.
You're right. I mean, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Now, what about favorite concert memories? You had a concert that stands out? Any random shenanigans that have happened on one?
God, it would take me. Well, I can tell you what my favorite concert is. I don't know if it's my favorite concert memory because there's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened at shows. I'd have to think about that. But my absolute favorite concert I've been to, I saw Paul McCartney at Bonnaroo in 2013. And there is just something about being in a field with like 90,000 people and seeing like, you know, Paul McCartney's a legend, right? And like, I think I was okay for the first couple songs, and then he played Blackbird, which is one of my favorite songs, and I started crying. That was definitely one of my favorites.
Did you get hugs from the crowd?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were all like, at that point, everybody loves each other, right?
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, it was great.
I like it. Casey?
So I would also have to think about it a little bit. I think that probably the best show was probably the Eras tour last year because she put so much effort into each of the albums, all the songs that were selected, and just the theatrics of it all.
Sure.
And the length of time that she spent going through all of that. So that was probably the best show that I've been to. But as far as my favorite, I don't know which one that would be.
It gets hard.
Yeah.
It's not, for somebody who's only gone to a little bit of shows like me, it's pretty easy. So I'll just rattle mine off.
I sometimes have trouble remembering who I've seen in concert.
Look, you
which
have
just
to have a
tells you.
list, which tells you everything.
I
you
know,
need to
right? But
I don't need to have a
Taylor
list.
Swift was good, though. I will say I had never been to a giant stadium production like that, and that was pretty amazing to see. Like I would love. I've seen the Eras Tour documentary video or whatnot of the tour, but I would really love a documentary of the like behind the scenes of them putting that show together.
Yeah, I would too, especially now because we're at the point where she's already switched it up and she's doing totally different stuff because the new album came out. So I'd like to see all the effort that went into keeping that secret that they were going to just change it up and add all those new sets and do all that new stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So things like that, as much as people want to give her shit, you can't belittle all of the effort that went into doing all of that.
No.
I mean, we were just sitting there watching the show, and I think halfway through I turned to you and I was like, we're halfway through and it's an hour and a half. We just did a whole concert.
Right.
I know. And the next concert that I went to after that, I kind of like, we walked into the place and it was much smaller. It wasn't a stadium. And it was Modest Mouse and Weezer. I forgot who their opener was, but Modest Mouse, like, their audio was a little messed up for that show for some reason.
Sure.
So they didn't sound great live, and they didn't have any lights or anything that were going because I guess they were considered an opener for it, even though it's Modest Mouse. They're still a big band.
Sure.
And I just remember feeling so like, this is it. This is all that we get.
So let down after seeing Taylor.
But then Weezer came out, and Weezer actually had the lights, and they had like a cool setup with their it was like a radio on the car, and the background projector was just going like it was a road trip kind of thing. So it was still a good show, but it was still very much like
not the same.
Just a month after seeing Taylor Swift, where I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to recenter everything about my concert experience.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's fair. The best concert I ever saw was in Little Rock. I saw. Okay, here we go. My favorite concert of all time is Carrie Underwood, because Carrie Underwood's voice is studio quality all the time.
I could imagine that.
I was absolutely 100% in awe every moment she sang about how incredible her voice is. Absolutely just knocked it out of the park.
She does have a great voice.
Oh my God. And then so she did a part where she stood on top of a rusted out, I mean, it probably wasn't, but it looked like rusted out pickup truck that floated around the crowd, and she sang on top of it.
Oh, wow.
And then she landed on the stage, and then she reached down, and it turned into a big dress that went up in the sky. And
that's cool.
It was cool. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And so I was like, she killed it. But my favorite concert experiences are twofold. One, in Utah, the old like generic pop station turned into a rap station called U92. And U92 had it was basically a festival for Utah. And it was like Jay-Z and DMX and Busta Rhymes
some
and
big
like
names.
everybody, and none of them wanted to be there. It was like 104 degrees, and there was no water. Like they were selling water for $20, but it was fun for me because all of my friends had only known one black person, so everybody was very excited because like every black person in Utah was there. And so it was just fun to be in a spot where I wasn't by myself.
Sure.
Which was just kind of nice. It was kind of
Yeah,
nice for
absolutely.
a minute to be like, oh, I'm with more different kinds of people. But the best concert experience I had was right before the pandemic. I saw Snoop Dogg in basically a warehouse.
Cool.
And he had Warren G there, and they did a Nate Dogg tribute for a minute. And then Snoop Dogg went on, and he had giant dog characters with giant weeds.
Nice.
Giant of the weeds. And everybody in the building was smoking. Like, we were just getting smoked out.
I mean, I'd be disappointed if they weren't.
It would be sad if you weren't. And that was a hoot. Snoop Dogg just did everything. He went out into the crowd. He was passing blunts around. It was amazing. So that was my favorite experience. Even when we stood up the whole time because there was no seats there.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you didn't know where you were.
Oh, sure.
At a certain point, you're just
there.
Just there with
enjoying the
Snoop Dogg.
vibes.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg.
Nice.
Yeah. What is the farthest you traveled for a concert?
The farthest from is probably I went to. I guess this counts. It was a festival, but I traveled to San Francisco for a festival called Outside Lands in 2017. So cross country for me. That's probably the farthest.
Who'd you see there?
The headliners were Metallica, who was fantastic. They're from San Francisco, so it was kind of a hometown show for them. Let's see, it was Metallica. Oh God, I just forgot the name of the band.
Was it Carrie Underwood?
No, it was not. Gorillaz. They were one of the other. I can't remember if they were a headliner or if they were like right before a headliner. And then oh my God, they're really The Who. They were one of the other headliners, and they were really good. They were really good too.
Metallica, Gorillaz, and The Who.
Yeah, well, I mean that's how festivals go, right? I mean, I saw a bunch of other people. Yeah. Like Lorde was there. That was somebody I really wanted to see.
Oh yeah.
I bet she's good live.
She's very good live. I've seen her a few times. She was really good. Maggie Rogers, who is, I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's kind of big now, but like Outside Lands was one of her very first festivals she had ever done. And she came out on stage and cried because she was so excited that people were there to see her. It was very sweet.
Oh.
I think the Avett Brothers were there. They're the band I've seen the most. I don't know if that's a question later.
That is a good question.
Yeah, I've seen them 11 times, and that was one of them.
That's a piece of trivia I already knew.
I did not know that.
Yeah, nice.
Is that your favorite band?
It is not.
Okay.
It's just the band I've seen the most. So I do really like them. I think
I would hope so.
The reason I have seen them the most is one, they play a lot of festivals. They're just one of those bands that just does a lot of festivals, so they're easy to see. But I don't listen to them a whole lot, like on albums. They're good, but their live show is so good.
Okay.
Highly recommend. I've been to Red Rocks a couple times. Well, I've been there to Red Rocks 3 times. All 3 times to see the Avett Brothers.
Okay.
So
when I send them this for the press kit, I just wanted to make sure we establish the quality of their band.
Well, so the funny thing is, I feel like I've seen them a lot because I've seen them, 11 times, which is, for me, is a lot. It's the most I've ever seen anybody. I was at a festival in Nashville a couple years ago, and they were there. And I was waiting to see them, and I was talking to this older couple next to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm really excited. This is my 11th, because I think it was my 11th show, to see them. And they were like, oh, that's really nice. We're on like 55.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
That's such a, oh, bless your heart.
It
Yeah,
was.
it really
They
is.
were very, very
Like-
sweet, but it was definitely like, here
okay.
I am thinking, wow, I've seen them a lot. And then I was like, oh, I think I've seen a lot of shows, but I have not compared to like real music people.
Yeah, but that's like parents going to all of their kids' sport games when they're like I went to all my kids' games in high school and then in college, and it's like, okay, you're just on another level. Like,
Right,
you
very
can't compare
true.
yourself to 55ers.
Right, like, I
You
mean,
just
those are
can't.
people who are true Avett Brothers fans who are,
Yeah.
like, traveling around the country to see them. I'm just, like, I like them, and if they're at a
and
festival
you'll see
I'm
it.
at, I will
Yeah.
see them,
Yeah,
because
I've
they're
got-
great live.
I've got a buddy that likes one of the Grateful Dead, like,
Oh, yeah.
tribute bands, and he goes everywhere to see them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's the kind of person that doesn't have furniture in his house because he doesn't want to spend money. He's got like a bed and a
Yeah,
chair,
sure.
and he just goes to
spends all his
festivals
money,
and
yeah.
concerts and stuff. And he goes to see them everywhere. And then I have another friend. She goes to see Duran Duran everywhere.
Oh, wow.
She has like 12 set lists and a pick and
That's
she goes
cool.
to see them everywhere.
My cousins were huge Dave Matthews fans. Like, they've traveled around the country back in the, like, late 90s, early 2000s when he was huge. I've seen him, like, 50, 60 times. But,
So much.
yeah.
So much. Casey, how's farthest you've gone to see a concert?
Seattle.
Nice. Who was it?
Death Cab.
I was like, that was
Postal Service.
right?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have somebody that you've seen the most?
Yeah. It's the only band that I've seen more than once in concert, and that was Breaking Benjamin.
They're one of mine I've seen a lot, too. I think I've
Yeah.
seen them 8 times.
The first time that I saw them, I did not see them because it was a festival. And I wanted to see them. It was them followed by Live. Or no, it was them and then Tantric and then Live.
Was that in the mysterious city that we live in? Because I
Yes.
feel like I was also at that show.
It sure was. Yeah. And there were some bands before that I also wanted to see. And I made the mistake of going with a couple of friends who were less enthusiastic about this.
Oh, sure.
And one of them got lost on the way there,
Oh boy.
which
No.
is very hard to do.
Yes.
From the interstate. You just have to turn right.
Right.
And they
Yes.
missed it and then decided that they didn't know how to get there. And I'm glad that they're never going to hear me tell this story. I'm going to keep it as PG as possible, though. But they got to the next place where you have to turn. And they're like, I don't know if I go left or right. And I'm like, you go right, just like you would have gone right at the previous exit if you had not missed it. And he's like, I think I need to call my grandma.
Wow.
Called his grandma.
Okay.
I was like,
Wow.
oh man, Casey was right.
think-
I sure was.
He just
I
had
think
to
I need
get
to call my grandma.
needed
directions
grandmas.
from his wise elders.
And this, I'm going to add a little bit more context. And you're about to lose your mind. But it's the same person I told you about on our drive last time.
Okay. Yes.
Surprised that you're not cackling.
No,
right now.
listen,
But-
because if I start, this will derail everything.
But so we ended up just missing the turn and then had to drive all the way through the city to get there. And we got there and we heard them playing. Breaking Benjamin was playing, and they were who I wanted to see. And we paid for our tickets. We got in the door and we turned the corner and saw them on stage just in time to hear da da da. Good night, guys.
Oh,
and
so
they
disappointing.
Son of
It
So
was
sad.
awful. And then Tantric played, who I didn't particularly care about, but like they were fine live.
Sure.
Like it was a
Yeah.
good enough show, but I wasn't like super enthusiastic. And then we heard 2 songs by Live, and then that same person was like, okay, well I gotta wake up early for work, so let's go. So we
Wow.
paid for festival tickets
Wow.
for all of one show.
Basically,
so
essentially.
one
sad.
band. That's sad.
So that was
That person.
my most disappointing concert that I've ever been to. I think I can say.
That's a good one. That's a good prompt too.
Yeah, but then like the following year, Breaking Benjamin came back and I got tickets, so I saw them. And then I think I've seen them one other time where they were an opener for somebody else, and now I can't think of who it was.
Nice. They were the dilemma we had last year, that they came the same night we went to see Taylor Swift. Or no,
Oh,
the
that's
night,
right.
the
Yeah,
night
they were-
before.
That
And we
was supposed
debated
to-
about going to see them.
That was supposed to be my 4th time seeing them, and we didn't get to.
And we decided we were too tired because we're
Yeah.
old.
No, we
Look.
were iced in, right?
No. Oh, no. That you're right. So this is twice now, because wasn't Breaking Benjamin who we were going to see before we went to see Taylor Swift, and then we decided we didn't want it to.
Yes,
or no,
it was them.
Was
yeah.
it them? And then
Yeah.
we had tickets to see them when we had the ice storm this year.
Yep, that's right. So I was going to see them way more times. And
Right. But
missed them both.
we're very glad we didn't go to the show at the Ice Storm because they did not cancel it.
Yeah, I remember us having that conversation.
And he had
about the Ice Storm.
laryngitis.
He did. He had laryngitis, so he didn't even sing.
That's crazy.
I'm so glad we got refunds. I would have been so mad. I mean, I love him, so I could have just stared at him all night, but like I would have preferred to stare and hear his voice.
I went on a date to see Eric Church, who I didn't know anything about.
Oh, wow.
He had a nice show, but all of his band was sick.
Oh no.
And so he still did a show, like mostly acoustic.
Yeah.
And then he let everybody keep their tickets to come back like a Memorial Day that year.
Oh, that's really
which
nice.
we didn't go back because I don't remember why we didn't go
Yeah.
back. But I was like, that's super cool.
That's very
It
cool.
was like
Yeah.
he did a full show. His opener still played, and then he let everybody go back to see the full show again. I was like, that's super cool.
Yeah. More concerts last year than I've ever seen in 1 year.
Nice.
So that's the most you've seen in 1 year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably see 2 concerts a year. If I see a concert, probably about 2.
I fluctuate. I've seen none so far this year, which is like crazy for me that it's May and I don't think I've seen. I've seen smaller bands, but like none like big. The most I
Yeah.
ever saw, I think, was 2015 because I did a bunch of festivals that year. And like at a good weekend at a festival, if I like, because sometimes I'll split shows, so I'll see
Sure.
like, 5 songs of one band and then go to a next one.
Right, move.
I think the most I ever saw in a day or in a weekend was like 21. So in a good festival year, in 2015, I think I did quite a few festivals.
Here's the thing. I'm going to see Ludacris twice this year.
That's exciting.
That will put him on the top of my list of people that I've seen multiple times because I've only seen 2 other bands twice. I've
Luda.
seen Boyz II Men twice, and I saw Evanescence twice, and then it'll be Luda twice.
Nice.
I mean, I shouldn't assume anything because one day I'd like to see Lauryn Hill maybe, but I don't think that's ever going to
If that
happen.
ever happens, yes.
So
I was wondering if that was going to come up when we
Look.
brought her
Yeah.
up in 1998.
look, I didn't want to
almost
bring it
brought
up
it
at
up.
all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up at all, but I'm mad about it still.
I can understand.
Because listen everybody, I mentioned it when we talked about it. That Lauryn Hill album is an all-time great album. Like it may still be, at least at the time, was like the highest selling lady R&B album. It's a great album, fantastic, great songs all the way around. But Lauryn Hill has one album. That's it. She didn't make another one. She doesn't do stuff with the Fugees very much because one of them's going to jail and it's a whole thing. Show up and do your darn one album.
Yeah.
Okay. Just I'm not expecting that much. You're gonna do 5, 6 songs. She's only got 10 songs to do. She showed up late on a couple on this tour to a couple of things, and then. But even if you can't make it because you can't make it, that show was in December. It still hasn't been rescheduled yet.
That's crazy. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. I don't even want to cancel. I'm more mad about the fact that it's gone this way. I don't really want to cancel it. I'd like to see her, but on the other hand, I'm kind of pissed off. And they have all of my money still, interest free.
Right? They're
How is
getting a
that
nice
even
loan
allowed?
off of it.
I know.
Terrible.
Sons of bitches. All right, let's see. Do we cover anything? Favorite artists? Let's just do that real quick, or maybe top 3 if you can't come up with a number.
I was gonna say that's too hard.
I know.
Yeah.
It's probably difficult.
It's like depending on the day and different periods of my life.
Sure.
But real quick, okay.
So what about the Karen of right now?
So that's actually the hard one.
What about the Karen of 2 weeks ago? I'm trying to give you a break.
I know. So I will say I listen to a lot more like folk rock,
Okay.
indie rock, I guess. So I'm a big Bon Iver fan, if you know who they are. I really like Phoebe Bridgers. I've seen her with Better Oblivion Community Center, which is her band she has with Connor Oberst.
I know Connor Oberst. That's a
yeah.
name I know.
Yeah, so they had a band together, and I saw them when they played together. And then I have seen her open for Taylor Swift.
And with Boy Genius coming out.
Yeah, and Boy Genius came out, which was very exciting because I love them too. That's like her super group kind of thing. But I would like to see her by herself. So there are a couple of the bands that I listen to a lot now. high school, I was a big fan of this band called Jump Little Children.
Jump Little Children.
Yeah.
Let's
So
go.
I know you know who they are
I
because
do.
you posted lyrics to one of their songs, and I was like, oh my God, you've heard of them.
It's one of my all-time favorite songs of all the songs in the world.
Yeah, so
So
they're
good.
they're kind of interesting because they never got really huge, but they were like well known amongst, I think, people who listen to music a lot, and then regionally they were very big. So,
So
like
what you're saying, Karen, is the cool people.
the cool people
know
knew who they were. Yeah. But they got popular because
All of their
song-
pinkies are up right now. Just so you guys know.
right. Yeah, the cool people.
I flipped my wig and everything.
But their song Cathedrals, which is the song you know, was on an episode of Everwood in the early 2000s, if you ever watched that show. And that kind of got them sort of popular.
Yeah.
Anyway, huge fan of them.
Do you remember, this is an aside, but do you remember when like TV shows, I think they maybe still can, but not like they could before, where it was like a theme song or whatever, like on the OC episode where the guy shoots the other guy and it's got
That's the Feist song.
What you say,
Yeah.
that.
So
I know that song because I found that song because of that.
So I don't think they do that much anymore, but
No, I
like
don't
you
think
have
they
to
do
think
either.
like early 2000s, there were a bunch of TV shows that like launched a bunch of bands. Because
Yes.
you have the OC, you have One Tree Hill was
Yep.
another big one that did that. Charmed always had a lot of bands on. Buffy
Yeah.
the Vampire Slayer was another. It was a lot of the CW
I was just
shows.
gonna say, is this all CW?
Yeah, they did that a lot, but I don't really think
Because
that's-
Vampire Diaries had a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
too that came out. And then I still remember House had Massive Attack as their opening
Oh,
They
theme.
did
Yes.
because I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that song in particular just always
Yeah.
hits,
yeah, it's a good one.
scratches your brain just the right way.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not as prevalent as it was.
It doesn't seem like it is. And again, that's just because there's music everywhere and there's a million shows.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
You all weren't watching the same show.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you
I don't
know.
think you'd have unless you had something like Game of Thrones that suddenly
Well,
had
exactly.
like you'd have to have a big show like that.
But like
And-
Game of Thrones opening theme is like
Right.
one of them that people
Yeah.
are still connected to. But you
Yeah.
know that. Okay, Casey, you're on the clock. Top three bands.
I have no idea.
it's hard.
Or the top three bands that come to your mind.
I was
when
going to say that was
ask
kind of
you.
more mine.
Which
Top
is-
three bands
which is
that came to
fair.
my mind.
But you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe every episode we just ask what the top. We just come up with on your mind top three bands.
In college, I listened to a lot of Rise Against
Nice.
and in Berlin. Nowadays, who am I listening to? Oh my gosh. Somehow I've been listening to a lot of Walk the Moon lately.
Okay.
Nice.
I like
They're
their
a good
stuff.
one.
One Republic's ending up on my radio a lot. We've already mentioned Taylor Swift.
I was going to
has
say I've been listening to a lot of
the
Taylor.
new album.
You guys like Taylor Swift?
No,
Sometimes.
not at all. I've never listened to her in my life.
What about Taylor Swift bingo? Never mind. Never mind.
That was all Casey.
Never mind.
I just don't like when it would not have mattered what.
Oh no,
What it was. That person cutting off the songs the way that she did was just the worst host at a music bingo that anybody could
Yeah,
possibly
I
be.
have to say, if you're going to do music bingo, especially for an incredibly popular band musician person like Taylor Swift, don't cut the song off right before you get to the catchy part.
Okay, let me set
And
the
not
stage
even
here
just
for
that,
everybody.
because we went to more music bingo and they did a better job at just
They did. It was
transitioning out.
specifically
It was
that person. Yeah.
It was not the fact it was Taylor Swift. It was the way they did it, no matter what song it would have been.
No, I know. I'm just saying it was especially egregious with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so I just want to set the stage for everybody. We went to bingo, music bingo, where you play a little bit of a song and then you pick what the song is, and then the board rotates and whatever. You know, normal stuff. But the young lady that was running it found really poor, but like everybody has an inherent understanding of where a song should stop. And we may not agree on the exact points, but in general, we would agree on if you're going to pick a clip for a song, here's about what you'd pick.
Not in the middle of a chorus.
This young lady, I will say as fairly as I can, did not have a good ear for those things, to the point where it was perhaps aggravating to some of the party. Now, I don't know if that was because she hated everybody that was there secretly. I don't know if she just didn't understand what everybody was there for. Here's the other problem, though. Most of the people that were there seemed very happy with whatever they got. our pinkies up table
Yeah, the music snobs.
probably was a little bit more frustrated about it than some of the other folks there that were happy to eat their pizza and their beverages. What a wonderful aside. That's probably a good aside. Oh, I got to do mine
Yeah.
real quick before we go.
Top 3.
So my favorite artist is the worst person in the world, Kanye West. So you just got to get that out of the way. I know he's the worst person in the world.
It's the worst concert I've ever been to.
Really?
Not to a side on your side, but yes.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he ranted in the middle.
Yeah. He's a
But
crazy
he does
person.
have really good songs if you hear them.
As a producer, he's great. His not everything that he's made not in the past 5 years, great. I've never needed to listen to anything forward at all. As a youth, I loved Boyz II Men. They were by far my favorite band.
Yep.
I listened to them a whole bunch. Right now, what am I listening to the most? Probably some One Republic has come up a lot.
Nice.
Some Hozier.
His new song is
stuff.
great.
Yeah, his new stuff is all pretty palatable. And then, whatever else comes up. I'll just push the DJ button and let it run. Have you done any more DJ, Karen, since...
No, not really.
Road trip
Since
day?
that day we were in the car. Yeah, no, I haven't really. I haven't, to be completely honest, I have not listened to a whole lot of music lately.
That's all right. Nobody's going to
So-
judge you here.
I know I'm judging myself.
I mean, I might cut that out of the podcast.
Yeah,
but
you probably
nobody will
should.
judge you here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did a good job here. Karen, thank you for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah.
Casey and show mascot, thank you both for your hard work and determination on this episode.
Always.
And I haven't edited this yet, so I will say thanks to me later. That's it. Goodbye.